They forced her to bow, mocked her dreams, destroyed her hope, until he walked in. What the prince did next. It shook the entire palace. The morning sun cast shadows across the courtyard of Grace Academy. Amara knelt on the cold marble floor, her worn-out cleaning rag moving in circles as she scrubbed away yesterday's dirt. At 21, she had been working here for 3 years, ever since the orphanage turned her out at 18 with nothing but a secondary school certificate and hope that had long since faded. "Move faster, cleaner girl." A sharp voice cut through the morning air. Amara looked up to see Gloria approaching, her designer uniform crisp and perfectly pressed, her leather school bag swinging carelessly from her shoulder. Behind her walked Blessing and Vanessa, daughters of the city's richest families, their faces twisted in familiar contempt. Amara quickly returned to her scrubbing, but it was never fast enough to avoid their attention. Gloria's expensive shoe landed squarely in her bucket, splashing dirty water across Amara's faded uniform. "Oh, so sorry," Gloria said, her voice dripping with false concern. But then again, dirty water on dirty clothes. Does it really matter? The 3 girls erupted in laughter. Other students passing by either joined in or looked away, unwilling to risk becoming targets themselves. Amara bit her lip, tasting blood, and continued cleaning. This was her life now. Every day brought new humiliation, new pain. "I heard she's trying to study at night," Blessing said loudly, making sure everyone could hear. "Imagine. A cleaner thinking she can become something. My father says people like her should know their place." "My mother says the same thing," Vanessa added, examining her perfectly manicured nails. "The poor should serve. That's what they're born for. Right, Amara." Amara's hands trembled, but she remained silent. Speaking back only made things worse. Last month, when she had dared to defend herself, Gloria had complained to the headmistress, nearly costing Amara her job. She couldn't afford to lose this position. The small room behind the school kitchen and the meager salary were all that stood between her and the streets. "Look at her," Gloria sneered, crouching down to Amara's eye level. "So quiet. So pathetic. Do you really think you'll ever be anything more than this? Do you really think your dreams matter?" Before Amara could respond, Gloria snatched the rag from her hands and threw it across the courtyard. "Fetch," she commanded, as if speaking to a dog. "And when you're done, come clean our classroom. We had a little party yesterday, and it's quite messy." The girls walked away, their laughter echoing off the compound walls. Amara remained frozen for a moment, fighting back tears. She had learned not to cry in public anymore. They enjoyed her tears too much. As she slowly walked across the courtyard to retrieve her cleaning rag, her shoulders hunched in defeat, she whispered a prayer she had prayed 1,000 times before. "God, if you see me, if you hear me, please. I just want a chance. Just one chance to prove I'm worth something." The sun climbed higher in the sky as Amara picked up her rag and returned to her endless work. She didn't know that sometimes, prayers are heard in the most unexpected ways. She didn't know that her life was about to change forever. But first, things would have to get much, much worse. 2 weeks passed, and each day brought fresh torment for Amara. The torn uniform. The spoiled food dumped on her head. The accidental pushes that sent her sprawling. But today was different. Today was the day everything would come crashing down. It started when Amara arrived at work to find her small room behind the kitchen had been ransacked. Her few belongings were scattered, her precious borrowed textbooks torn and thrown in the garbage. On her thin mattress, someone had poured cooking oil and written in red marker, "Know your place." Her hands trembled as she gathered the ruined pages of her mathematics book. 3 months of saving had gone into replacing this book after the previous one was lost. Now it was destroyed. She wanted to scream, to cry, to run away and never come back. But she couldn't. This job was all she had. "Morning, cleaner girl." Gloria's voice rang out as Amara entered the main building. "Oh my, you look terrible. Rough night." Behind Gloria stood Blessing and Vanessa, barely containing their laughter. Amara knew immediately who had destroyed her room. "Please," Amara whispered, her voice breaking. "Please, just leave me alone. I've done nothing to you." "Done nothing." Gloria stepped closer, her eyes cold. "Your existence is an insult. Looking at you reminds us that poverty exists, that failure exists. You're like a stain on our beautiful school. My father says people like you are why Abia can't progress," Vanessa added. "Always begging, always expecting handouts, never willing to accept that some people are simply born better than others." The morning crawled by in humiliation. At noon, Amara was serving lunch in the dining hall when Gloria deliberately stuck out her foot. Amara crashed forward, the tray of food flying through the air and landing on 3 students, including the headmistress's daughter. The dining hall fell silent. "You clumsy fool!" the headmistress's daughter shrieked, covered in rice and stew. "Look what you've done." I'm so sorry," Amara scrambled to help, but the girl pushed her away. "Don't touch me. You've ruined my uniform." The headmistress appeared within minutes, her face dark with fury. "Amara, my office. Now." In the office, Amara tried to explain about Gloria's foot, but the headmistress cut her off. "Enough. I've received multiple complaints about you recently. Lazy work. Insubordination. And now this. I should fire you immediately." "Please, ma'am." Amara fell to her knees. "Please, I need this job. I have nowhere else to go. I'll work harder, I promise." The headmistress looked at her with disgust. "You're an embarrassment to this institution. However, I'm not heartless. You can keep your job, but there will be consequences. First, you'll pay for the damaged uniforms from your salary. Second, for the next month, you'll work double shifts with no overtime pay. Third, you'll personally apologize to each of those girls in front of the entire school tomorrow morning." Amara's world spun. Double shifts meant she'd work from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. No overtime pay meant she'd earn nothing this month. And the public apology would cement her humiliation forever. "Do you understand?" the headmistress demanded. "Yes, ma'am," Amara whispered. That evening, as Amara scrubbed the dormitory bathrooms at 9 p.m., exhausted and defeated, she finally broke. Tears streamed down her face as she worked, her body shaking with silent sobs. She had reached her limit. She couldn't do this anymore. "Maybe they're right," she whispered to herself. "Maybe I should just accept that this is all I'll ever be. Maybe dreams aren't for people like me." She didn't notice the figure standing in the hallway, watching her through the half-open door. A young man in plain clothes, visiting the school late to meet with the headmistress about a royal scholarship program. He had gotten lost looking for the administrative office and stumbled upon this scene. Prince Jude stood frozen, watching this young woman crying as she scrubbed toilets at night. He couldn't hear her words, but he could see her despair, her exhaustion, her complete brokenness. Something stirred in his chest, anger, compassion, and a fierce determination to understand what was happening in this school his father had praised so highly. He quietly pulled out his phone and sent a text to Samuel. "I need you to investigate a staff member at Grace Academy. Young woman, early 20s, working as a cleaner. Find out everything. I'll be staying in Abia longer than planned. Don't tell anyone why." The next morning, Amara stood in the courtyard before the assembled school, forced to apologize to Gloria, Blessing, Vanessa, and the headmistress's daughter. "I'm sorry for my clumsiness," she said, her voice barely audible. "I'm sorry for ruining your uniforms. I'm sorry for causing disruption. It won't happen again." Gloria smiled triumphantly. "Louder. We can't hear you." Amara raised her voice, shame burning through her. "I'm sorry." "Better," Gloria said. "Now bow." Amara hesitated, but the headmistress's sharp look left no choice. She bowed deeply, while the 4 girls stood above her like queens before a servant. "Remember this moment," Gloria whispered, loud enough for others to hear. "This is where you belong. On your knees. As students filed away to class, Amara remained in the courtyard, still bent in her bow, tears dripping onto the stone beneath her. She had never felt more worthless, more invisible, more erased as a human being. She didn't know that someone was watching from an administrative office window. Someone who had seen the entire humiliation. Someone whose hands were now clenched in fists, whose jaw was tight with barely restrained fury. Prince Jude turned to the headmistress, who was standing beside him, oblivious to his rage. "Tell me about your scholarship program," he said, his voice carefully controlled. "Oh, we only select the best students, Your Highness," she said proudly. "Girls from prominent families who will represent Abia with excellence." "I see," Jude said quietly. "And what about that young woman in the courtyard? The one who just apologized?" "Oh, her." The headmistress waved dismissively. "Just a cleaner. Poor thing has no family, no prospects. She's lucky we employ her at all." "Lucky," Jude repeated, the word tasting like poison in his mouth. "Yes, Your Highness. Some people are born to lead. Others are born to serve. It's the natural order of things." Prince Jude stared out the window at Amara, who had finally stood up and was slowly walking back to her work. He thought about his father's teachings. About justice. About dignity. About the responsibility of power. "Thank you for your time," he said to the headmistress. "I'll be in touch about the scholarship program. Very soon." As he left the school, Prince Jude made a phone call. "Samuel, I need you to arrange something. I'm going back to Grace Academy tomorrow. But this time, I won't be in disguise." "Your Highness. Tomorrow, those girls will learn what real power looks like. And that young woman will learn that someone sees her. Someone knows her worth. Tomorrow, everything changes." The next day, Grace Academy buzzed with unusual energy. Teachers rushed through hallways. Students whispered excitedly. The headmistress wore her finest traditional attire, barking orders at everyone. "The prince is coming." Prince Jude himself. The news spread like wildfire through the school. Amara heard the announcement while scrubbing the staff bathroom, her hands still raw from yesterday's double shift. Her body ached, her spirit was crushed, but the work never stopped. She had barely slept, and now she had another 18-hour day ahead of her. "You." The headmistress appeared at the bathroom door. "Make sure the main courtyard is spotless. The prince will be arriving at 4 p.m. sharp. And stay out of sight when he arrives. I don't want him seeing. Well, just stay hidden." Amara nodded silently. She knew what the headmistress meant. She was an embarrassment, something to be hidden away when important people visited. By mid-afternoon, the entire school assembled in the courtyard in perfect formation. Gloria, Blessing, and Vanessa stood in the front row, wearing their best uniforms, makeup applied flawlessly. They whispered among themselves, each convinced they would be chosen for whatever opportunity the prince was offering. "My father made a donation to the palace," Gloria said confidently. "The prince will definitely notice me." "My mother says I have royal bearing," Vanessa preened. "I'm meant for this." "We're the best this school has to offer," Blessing added. "Who else would he choose?" Amara watched from behind the kitchen building, where she'd been ordered to wait. She felt invisible, erased, like she didn't even exist. Part of her wondered what it would be like to stand in that courtyard, to be seen, to matter. But she knew better than to dream anymore. At exactly 4 p.m., sirens wailed in the distance. The motorcade of black vehicles rolled through the school gates with precision. Royal guards emerged first, their uniforms crisp and imposing, forming two perfect lines. Then the car door opened, and Prince Jude stepped out. He was younger than Amara expected, perhaps in his late 20s, but he carried himself with natural authority. His ceremonial robes bore the royal crest, and his eyes swept across the assembled crowd with an intensity that made people shift uncomfortably. Everyone bowed deeply as he approached. "Good evening," Prince Jude's voice carried easily across the courtyard. "Thank you for welcoming me to Grace Academy. I have heard much about this institution. The headmistress stepped forward, beaming. Your Highness, we are honored by your presence. Grace Academy has always been committed to excellence and— I'm sure, Jude interrupted smoothly. In fact, I've been quite interested in your school. So interested that I visited yesterday. Unannounced. In plain clothes. The headmistress's smile froze. A ripple of unease passed through the crowd. I wanted to see the real Grace Academy, the prince continued, his voice hardening. Not the polished performance you would have prepared for me. And what I saw disturbed me deeply. Gloria's confident expression began to crack. Blessing and Vanessa exchanged worried glances. I saw cruelty, Jude said, his eyes scanning the crowd. I saw young women with every advantage using their privilege as a weapon against someone who had nothing. I watched 3 students in particular torment a member of your staff in ways that made me question what values this school truly teaches. The courtyard had gone deathly silent. Students looked at each other, confused and frightened. Gloria. Blessing. Vanessa. The prince's voice cut through the air like a blade. Step forward. The 3 girls stumbled forward, their faces draining of color. They now understood. He had seen everything. Your Highness, I can explain. Gloria's voice trembled. You can explain how you destroyed someone's belongings? How you poured oil on her bed? How you wrote "Know Your Place" in red marker? The prince's voice rose with controlled anger. You can explain how you tripped her deliberately, causing her to be punished for your cruelty? How you made her bow before you in public humiliation? Gasps erupted throughout the courtyard. Many students hadn't witnessed all of these incidents, but hearing them listed made the pattern of abuse undeniable. Where is she? Prince Jude demanded, turning to the headmistress. Where is the young woman you've allowed to be tortured under your watch? She's. Your Highness, I assure you. Where is she? Each word was like a hammer blow. From her hiding spot, Amara felt her heart pounding. He was talking about her. The prince was talking about her. She wanted to run, to hide, but something in his voice made her step forward instead. She emerged from behind the building, her cleaning uniform stained, her head covered in a simple scarf. She looked nothing like the polished students in their designer clothes. She was everything they tried to hide from important visitors. Every eye turned to her. She saw Gloria's face twist with fury and fear. She saw the headmistress's expression of horror. She saw the other students staring in shock. But when her eyes met Prince Jude's, she saw something different. Recognition. Respect. And something that looked almost like fury on her behalf. Come here, the prince said gently. Please. Amara's legs shook as she walked across the courtyard. Each step felt like a mile. The silence was crushing. When she reached the prince, she tried to bow, but he stopped her with a raised hand. No, he said firmly. You don't bow anymore. Not to them. Not to anyone who made you feel less than human. He turned back to the assembled school. This young woman is named Amara. She is 21 years old. She has been working at this school for 3 years, enduring daily abuse, and yet, he paused, pulling out his phone and showing something to the crowd. And yet, my investigators discovered that she helps everyone around her. Last month, she gave her entire month's salary to help a sick colleague, living on 1 meal a day so someone else could afford medicine. Tears began streaming down Amara's face. Someone had noticed. Someone had seen her. She studies at night with borrowed books that have now been destroyed. She dreams of education despite being told daily that dreams aren't for people like her. She has more character in her little finger than many of you have in your entire bodies. The prince's voice grew stronger. As Crown Prince of Abia, I am here to make an announcement that will change this school forever. But first, he turned to Gloria, Blessing, and Vanessa. You 3 will learn what happens when cruelty reaches royal eyes. He gestured to Samuel, who stepped forward with a folder. I have reports here on your families. Reports that have been forwarded to the appropriate authorities. Gloria's father's business practices. Blessing's family's government contracts. Vanessa's parents' company operations. All now under investigation. The three girls fell to their knees, crying, begging, but the prince raised his hand for silence. Your families built their wealth by crushing others, just as you crushed Amara. That ends today. But that's not your real punishment. He placed a hand on Amara's shoulder. Your real punishment is that you will watch her rise. You will watch someone you thought was beneath you become everything you pretended to be. You will watch and remember that you had the chance to be kind and chose cruelty instead. The prince turned to Amara, his expression softening. Amara, I have a question to ask you. But before I do, I need you to understand something. You matter. Your dreams matter. Your dignity matters. And anyone who made you feel otherwise was wrong. Do you understand? Amara could barely see through her tears, could barely breathe. Yes, she whispered. Good, Prince Jude smiled. Then here is my question. How would you like to leave this place forever? How would you like a full scholarship to university, housing at the palace residential wing, and the resources to achieve every dream they tried to kill? The courtyard exploded in shocked gasps and whispers. Gloria's face went white. The headmistress looked ready to faint. Amara stared at the prince, unable to process his words. I don't understand. You will, Jude said. Because I'm about to announce something that will change not just your life, but the lives of thousands. Something that will make these girls remember this moment forever. He turned back to the crowd, his voice ringing with authority. But first, there's someone else who needs to be here. Someone who will help me ensure that what happened to Amara never happens to anyone else in this kingdom. He pulled out his phone and made a call. Father, I'm ready. Please come to Grace Academy. It's time. As the sun began to set, another motorcade appeared at the school gates. This one was even larger, even more impressive. The door opened, and King Michael himself stepped out, his presence commanding instant respect. Your Majesty. The entire school bowed deeply, terror and awe mixing on their faces. The king walked to his son's side, looked at Amara with kind eyes, then surveyed the crowd. My son tells me we have witnessed both the worst and the best of humanity here today. He tells me that changes must be made. Changes that start right now. Prince Jude took Amara's hand gently. Amara, I want you to meet my father. The king has something to tell you. Something that will change your life forever. King Michael smiled at Amara, then turned to address the school. 3 years ago, I lost my younger sister to illness. Before she died, she made me promise something. She made me promise to find young people like her. People who had courage, kindness, and dreams despite overwhelming circumstances. She made me promise to give them the chances she never had. He paused, his voice thick with emotion. For 3 years, we have searched all of Abia for someone worthy of carrying her legacy. Someone who embodied everything she believed in. My son has found that person. Prince Jude looked at Amara, his eyes shining. Amara, my aunt left behind a foundation worth 200 million naira for one person. The person who would prove themselves worthy through character, not privilege. My father and I have watched you for 2 days. We've investigated your life. And we've made our decision. The king stepped forward. Amara, I hereby name you the recipient of the Princess Sarah Memorial Foundation. You will receive a full university education, housing, a monthly stipend, and after graduation, a position of leadership in the palace's new Office of Youth Empowerment. You will help us find and help others like yourself. Amara's legs gave out. She would have fallen if Prince Jude hadn't caught her. This can't be real, she sobbed. This can't be happening. It's real, Jude said softly. You're free, Amara. You're finally free. As royal guards prepared to escort Amara to her new life, as the king spoke about reforms and investigations, as Gloria, Blessing, and Vanessa stood frozen in horror at what their cruelty had cost them. One question hung in the air. The headmistress, desperate to save face, found her voice. "Your Majesty, about the Royal Scholarship Program for Grace Academy." King Michael's expression turned cold. "There will be no Royal Scholarship Program for Grace Academy. Not now. Not ever. Any institution that allows such abuse has no business educating the youth of Abia." He turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and one more thing. The Ministry of Education will be conducting a full investigation of this school. I suspect we'll find many more troubling things when we look closer." As the royal family prepared to depart with Amara, Prince Jude turned back one last time, his eyes finding Gloria's terrified face. "You wanted to know your place," he said quietly. "Now you do. And Amara's place? It's right beside us, where it always should have been." The motorcade pulled away, taking Amara toward her new life. Behind her, Gloria dropped to her knees in the courtyard, finally understanding that she had destroyed not just Amara's life, but her own future as well. But the story wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Because what happened next would shake Abia to its very foundations. Within 72 hours, all of Abia knew Amara's story. The video from Grace Academy had gone viral. News channels ran special reports. Social media exploded. The story was everywhere. But the real earthquake was just beginning. At the palace, Amara sat in her new room trying to process her new reality. She had her own bathroom. A wardrobe full of clothes. New textbooks. Most importantly, she had dignity. Prince Jude had been true to every promise. She was enrolled at the University of Abia, with classes starting in 2 weeks. Tutors came daily to help her prepare. The palace staff treated her with genuine kindness, and more than once, she had caught them wiping away tears when they heard her full story. "Miss Amara," Samuel knocked on her door that afternoon. "The prince requests your presence in the throne room. There's something you need to see." When Amara entered the grand throne room, she found Prince Jude and King Michael standing before a large screen showing the national news. Her heart skipped when she saw what was on display. "Corruption Empire Crumbles," the headline read. Below it, images of Gloria's father being led away in handcuffs. "We wanted you to see this," King Michael said gently. "To understand that justice is not just about your personal vindication. It's about fixing the systems that allowed your suffering." The news reporter's voice filled the room. In a stunning development, the businesses of 3 prominent Abia families are under criminal investigation following revelations that emerged from the Grace Academy incident. Gloria Okonkwo's father has been arrested on charges of tax evasion, worker exploitation, and bribery. His company's assets have been frozen. The screen switched to show Blessing's family mansion with police tape across the entrance. The Adebayo family's government contracts have been revoked after investigators discovered they were awarded fraudulently. The family patriarch is facing corruption charges that could result in decades in prison. Finally, Vanessa's family appeared. The MBA company has declared bankruptcy after workers filed a massive class action lawsuit citing unpaid wages, dangerous working conditions, and systematic abuse. The company's leadership is under criminal investigation. Amara felt dizzy. "All of this, because of me?" "No," Prince Jude said firmly, turning off the screen. "All of this because of them. These families built their wealth through corruption and cruelty. They raised daughters who thought abuse was acceptable. Your story simply brought their darkness into the light. They destroyed themselves. Amara, you just survived long enough for the truth to matter." "The 3 girls," Amara whispered. "Where are they?" Samuel stepped forward. "Gloria's family has moved to a small apartment across town. Blessing's family is staying with relatives. Vanessa's family is in a rented room. All 3 girls have been withdrawn from Grace Academy. Their families can no longer afford the fees." "Good," King Michael said, though his voice held no pleasure, only justice. "They are experiencing what you experienced. Powerlessness. Poverty. the loss of dignity. Perhaps it will teach them what their privilege never could. But Amara felt something unexpected stirring in her chest. Not satisfaction. Not victory. Something softer. Something that felt almost like pity. That evening, as Amara studied in her room, Samuel delivered a message. Miss Amara, you have visitors. 3 young women requesting to see you. They say it's urgent. Amara's hands trembled. Their names: Gloria Okonkwo, Blessing Adebayo, and Vanessa MBA. Her first instinct was to refuse. Why should she face them again? They had destroyed her life for 3 years. But then she remembered something her mother used to say before she died. Mercy is not weakness, my daughter. It's the strongest thing in the world. I'll see them, Amara said quietly. She met them in a small receiving room. The change in them was shocking. Gone were the designer clothes, the perfect makeup, the confident postures. They wore simple, worn outfits. Their faces were bare, eyes red from crying. They looked broken. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Gloria fell to her knees, and the others followed. Amara, Gloria's voice cracked. We don't deserve to be here. We don't deserve your time. We don't deserve anything from you. But we needed you to know. We're sorry. God, we're so sorry. Tears streamed down Blessing's face. We destroyed you because we were empty inside. We were monsters. And now we've lost everything, and we finally understand. We understand what we did to you. We're not here to ask for forgiveness, Vanessa whispered. We know we don't deserve it. We just needed you to know that we finally see. We finally understand that you were human. That you mattered. That we were wrong about everything. Amara stood looking down at them. These 3 who had made her kneel so many times. She could send them away. She could let them suffer. She would be justified in every cruel word. But as she looked at their broken faces, she didn't see her tormentors anymore. She saw 3 young women raised by corrupt families, taught that cruelty was power, and now facing the consequences of lessons they should never have learned. Stand up, Amara said softly. They looked up, confused. Stand up, she repeated. No more kneeling. Not from you to me. Not from anyone to anyone. That's what I learned. That's what the prince taught me. We're all human. We all matter. As they stood, trembling, Amara took a deep breath. What you did to me was evil. You almost destroyed me. There were nights I wanted to die because of how you made me feel. Gloria sobbed openly now. I know. And I hate myself for it. But I also know something else, Amara continued, her voice steady. I know that hurt people hurt people. I know that your families taught you that crushing others was acceptable. I know that you were products of a system that valued money over humanity. She paused, feeling tears on her own cheeks now. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I forgive you. All 3 girls gasped, their heads snapping up in shock. I forgive you, Amara repeated. Not because what you did was okay. It wasn't. I forgive you because holding on to hate would poison me the way it poisoned you. I forgive you because someone gave me a second chance, and maybe you deserve one too. How? Blessing whispered. How can you forgive us? Because mercy is stronger than revenge, Amara said simply. Because I refuse to become what you were. Because the prince showed me that true power is using your position to lift people up, not tear them down. The 3 women embraced each other, weeping, while Amara watched. She felt something lifting from her chest, a weight she hadn't even known she was carrying. The weight of bitterness, of hate, of the desire for revenge. Thank you, Gloria finally managed to say. We'll spend the rest of our lives trying to become worthy of that forgiveness. Then do it, Amara said. Become better people. Help others the way you hurt me. Prove that people can change. After they left, Prince Jude appeared from an adjoining room where he had been listening. You continue to amaze me, he said, his voice thick with emotion. Most people would have chosen revenge. Revenge would have made me like them, Amara replied. And I've worked too hard to become better than that. The prince smiled, but then his expression turned serious. Amara, there's something I need to tell you. Something I discovered today that changes everything. What is it? Those 3 families, they're not just facing criminal charges. They're completely bankrupt. And their extended families, they're suffering too. Innocent cousins, siblings, grandparents who had nothing to do with the corruption. They're all paying the price. Amara felt her stomach drop. What are you saying? I'm saying that justice and mercy are complicated. I'm saying that sometimes doing the right thing has consequences we didn't intend. I'm saying. He paused, choosing his words carefully, that you might have the power to help them. If you wanted to. Help them. Amara's voice rose. After what they did to me. No, Jude said quickly. Not help the ones who hurt you, but their families. The innocent ones. The children. The grandparents. The cousins who are now homeless because of their relatives' crimes. Amara sat down heavily, her mind spinning. She had just forgiven Gloria, Blessing, and Vanessa. But helping their families. That was something else entirely. What would you have me do? She asked. Prince Jude pulled out a document. The Princess Sarah Memorial Foundation, your foundation, has 200 million naira. More than enough for your education and future. But it's also enough to create programs that could help not just you, but hundreds of others. Including, if you chose, some of the innocent people suffering from this situation. You're asking me to help the families of the people who tortured me? I'm asking you what kind of person you want to be, Jude said softly. I'm asking you what your mercy looks like when it's truly tested. Forgiving them face to face was brave. But this would be revolutionary. Amara stood and walked to the window, looking out over Abia City. Somewhere out there, Gloria, Blessing, and Vanessa were returning to their ruined lives. Somewhere out there, innocent children were suffering because of their parents' crimes. Somewhere out there, grandparents were losing their homes because of their children's corruption. She thought about her own grandparents, dead before she knew them. She thought about being 8 years old and orphaned. She thought about having nowhere to go, no one to help. She thought about mercy. Tell me exactly who needs help, Amara said finally, turning back to the prince. The innocent ones. The children. The ones who had nothing to do with this. Jude's eyes widened. Are you sure? No, Amara admitted. But my mother used to say that mercy isn't about being sure. It's about being human. So show me who needs help, and let's figure out how the foundation can do it without rewarding the ones who did wrong. The prince smiled, pride shining in his eyes. You're going to change this nation, Amara. Not through revenge. Through something far more powerful. 5 years had passed since that fateful day at Grace Academy. Amara stood at the grand opening of the 5th branch of the Princess Sarah Memorial Foundation. This one in her old neighborhood where she had grown up in the orphanage. The building was beautiful, modern, and filled with hope, everything her childhood had lacked. At 26, Amara had accomplished more than she'd ever dreamed. She had graduated top of her class from the University of Abia with a degree in social work and development. She had helped over 2,000 young people access education and opportunities through the foundation. Mama Amara. A young girl ran up to her, hugging her tightly. It was Zainab, one of the foundation's first scholarship recipients, now in her 2nd year of university studying medicine. How are your studies? Amara asked, smiling warmly. Excellent. And it's all because you believed in me when no one else did. Just like the prince believed in you. As the ceremony began, Amara noticed 3 women standing at the back of the crowd. Her heart skipped. Gloria, Blessing, and Vanessa. She hadn't seen them in almost 5 years, not since that emotional meeting at the palace shortly after her rescue. After the ribbon cutting and speeches, The three women approached hesitantly. Amara, Gloria said softly. We weren't sure if we should come, but we heard about the opening, and we wanted to see what you've built. They looked completely different from the cruel girls at Grace Academy. They wore simple, modest clothes. Their faces showed maturity, humility, and something else, genuine peace. I'm glad you came, Amara said, surprising herself with how much she meant it. We wanted you to know what we've been doing, Blessing said, pulling out a folder. After everything that happened, after our families fell apart, we had to rebuild our lives from nothing. It was the best thing that ever happened to us. Vanessa opened the folder, showing Amara photographs. I've been working as a teacher in a rural village. The pay is small, but the work is meaningful. I finally understand what it means to serve rather than be served. I'm a social worker now, Blessing added. I help abused women and children. I see myself in them, broken, needing someone to care. I'm trying to be for them what you were for us. Someone who sees their worth. Gloria's voice trembled as she spoke. I run a small community center in my neighborhood. We offer free tutoring to children who can't afford school fees. It's not much, but it's honest work. Real work. And Amara, for the first time in my life, I'm proud of what I do. Amara felt tears welling up. You've all changed so much. We had to, Gloria said. That day at the school, when the prince exposed us, when our family's corruption was revealed, we lost everything. Our homes, our status, our futures. We were exactly where you had been. Powerless. Invisible. Looked down upon. And it saved us, Vanessa added. Because we finally understood. We finally felt what we had made you feel for 3 years. The shame. The helplessness. The desperation. And we knew we had to become different people. Blessing handed Amara an envelope. We know it's not much, but we've each been saving from our small salaries. We wanted to contribute to the foundation. It's only 50,000 naira from each of us. But, it's perfect, Amara interrupted, accepting the envelope with trembling hands. It's not about the amount. It's about what it represents. You've learned what I learned, that true wealth isn't in money. It's in character. In service. In using whatever we have to help others. The three women embraced Amara, all of them crying now. Thank you for forgiving us, Gloria whispered. Thank you for showing us there was another way to live. Thank you for choosing to change, Amara replied. Most people never do. You proved that redemption is real. What a powerful journey. If this story moved you, smash that like button and subscribe to Folktales by Inaya. Comment, what lesson will you carry from Amara's story? Share this with everyone who needs to hear that mercy is stronger than revenge. Your story suggestion could be next. Drop it in the comments. Thank you for being part of this journey. Turn on notifications for more inspiring tales. Remember, circumstances don't define us. Character does. Until next time, keep believing in the power of mercy.